with Epic Games and Steam.
Mm.
It's like before, it was just Steam dominating absolutely everything. Like just they were the video PC game guys, you know. You
Yeah,
wanted to get
if you wanted to play, well, they caught on because if you wanted to play Counter-Strike, if you wanted to play Half-Life, you had to do it on Steam. Like that's the reason why they originally became such a big platform.
That's right, and then came like Borderlands and all these other companies started to literally follow suit because it was just such a good selling platform.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, we want to distribute on that. And now Epic they've got Fortnite, Lego Fortnite. They're going to be working with Disney soon, and all these other just massive companies are seeing Epic Games as a. I mean, we know that Epic Games is big business. You know, and they're a big dog in the field. But I just think like as far as a game developer's point of view and an audience member and a game player and just the lover of games, that there is starting to be a strange dynamic shift where a lot of the devs, especially if you're using the Unreal Engine, and it's more and more devs using the Unreal Engine, they're going to go, I'm not even going to do it on Steam. I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to go straight to the Epic store because Epic is going to give them better kickbacks than Steam will. You know, we all know about these percentages that Steam take. We know about the percentages that some of these other marketplaces take off of the artists at the end of the day. Sometimes they're taking 30%, not doing a single thing. Quite literally. All they do is allow for the hosting of images and videos and allow for a download portal. That's it. That's all they do.
Well, there's also like Steam Cloud syncing.
No, sorry, not for Steam. Sorry, in particular, let me backtrack. Something like Google, for example. Google Play, you know, they allow you to host a thing like that. And basically that's all they're doing. Yeah. And they're taking 30% of all revenue just from that alone. And they don't help with any of the marketing. They don't help with any of the publishing. They don't help with any of the back end stuff. All they do is allow you to have the platform. And I know it might sound me being ungrateful. I just think these percentages are just too high for not doing any of the actual creative work. They're basically going, you and your team of anywhere from 1 to 50 people, and they're making this masterpiece. Give me 30% of your masterpiece. You know, it's and of course, the more you sell, the less that percent becomes. But for this, you hear for indie devs who are just trying to sort of start in the industry, those fees can be a lot. They really can be.
Right.
I don't think that those fees are necessarily justified with the current platform structure, personally. But I hope that they improve with that. And I think that back to my my point of Epic. Epic is offering a lot more incentives. They're taking less of a percentage. They're offering, you know, way more sort of advertising and promotion stuff. You know, I'm actually a Unity fanboy, so I hate saying all this stuff, right? I truly do. But credit where it's due. I do think that the Epic store is gaining more and more merit by the day. If only they could get their dang downloads under control and their server side stuff running correctly, because it's so slow, just, you know, compared to Steam. So yeah, there's a bit of shots fired there, but you know, but I do think it's something to watch out for.
I think the only issue with going straight to Epic is I don't know, because Steam has such a fan base of it. Like, people are a fan of Valve and they're a fan of the Steam store, that there's a lot of people that have this like negative reaction to when something is only released on Epic. Like, a good example of this recently is when when all of the Kingdom Hearts games came to PC. Like, when they're released on Epic, people are like, oh, cool, it's on PC, like, it's on the Epic store, yeah, whatever. And then when they also brought it over to Steam recently, people are like, it's on Steam now? Wait, okay, I guess it's time to actually buy it. Like, at the end of the day, for me, I don't like that there's as much lock-in with these games. I would like the ability, you know, think about it, like, you buy a game on a console, or you bought a PC game back when you actually bought PC games and not just a Steam code, where it didn't matter which store you bought it from, you were just buying the game. Like, you could play it however you wanted to, but now with all of these DRM systems and, like, Like I get it with
Absolutely.
I get it why it's like this, right? But I don't like it.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
get it.
like it.
That's okay to say that. 100%. I think that that's being open and honest, not just with yourself and like what we enjoy as like entertainment, but also like just being truthful about the matter. It's like I don't like heaps of microtransactions. Have I bought skins? Yes. Do I like them? You know, the skins that I bought? Well, sure, I bought them. But, you know, do I think they're inherently good? I mean, nothing's inherently good or bad, but like, you know, I think that some practices in some circumstances should be steered clear of. And it would be great if we could all have every developer could have their own Steam. If there could be like a website, hypothetically, where any dev can start their own portal, almost like itch.io is a very good example of that, but there is some security issues with itch.io. But the idea is sound, where everyone can create their own like page, and obviously that's what happens on Steam, but it's basically more like you can have like a Mediafire backlink or something like that. And I don't mean just like a download portal
Right.
through people's own websites. Because in that case, then you just have a serial number for the game. You know, you don't have it going through Valve, you don't have it going through Epic, you're not bound by. I like to think of it like it used to be region locking back in the day. The region lock things. And they used to go, oh, well, so now you want to use this, you have to use an NTSCJ, you know, or, you know, you have to use PAL. We all had PAL down here in Australia for those who are watching internationally.
At least that was a technical reason why, because there actually is differences in like hardware-wise for that. When we got past that though, and there were still games being region locked, like on the Nintendo DS, for example,
Yes.
games were region locked, and there was no functional reason.
There was
for it.
no function, and you're right. There was a technological reason, but even then, that technological reason came about from competition.
Sure.
You know, it's always like you know, it's the idea of not everything used to fit everything back then. It wasn't kind of like an all fits one. You know, sometimes I think like if you go down and you get tires on your car, you know, you can get all these different tires that are like, you know, 18 inches, and they're all going to fit, you know, more often than not, because it's like a, you know, 18-inch tire hypothetically, or 20. If you have 4 of those, you can start to sort of quantify a bit more, I think. Like otherwise we can sort of, I think, get lost in it all. You know, yeah, like you with like if you have something that's basically like, you know, 20 inches, these are the 20-inch tire, a Mercedes-Benz tire is going to fit on a Ford.
Right.
It's going to fit on that. Whereas back then, you had Ford, Mercedes-Benz, all these guys literally at each other's throats going, I'm going to make my nut different to yours. I'm going to make my bolt different to yours. I'm going to change every little component of my hardware so that you can never use my hardware with your hardware and vice versa. And it really, it's just like, it's actually anti-consumer practices. That's what I guess I'm trying to get at here. I was like kind of
Yeah, I wasn't sure where you were going with that metaphor.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so it's like, but there is so much of that rife in the game industry, right? Like anti-consumer practice, like where clearly the gamers want it one way, and then it takes so long for like, you know, either the industry to catch up and go, okay, we need one thing that suits all. You know, for example, region locking has now gone away more often than not, but you know, consoles have gone backwards compatible, non-backwards compatible, backwards compatible, non-backwards compatible. What's with that? You know what I mean? Like, and once again, I get that a lot of these are technical limitations of hardware and those kinds of things. A lot of them are budgetary, but yeah, it would be interesting to see, like, maybe in the future, everyone's just emulating video games. That would be so bizarre, you know, when like, if graphic cards are like, you know, 5 times better than they are now, and we can, you know, emulate games, that's not good for business. But if people are emulating older games that have already seen their sort of quote unquote heyday in that sense. People could argue, you know, they're losing, you know, capital on a remaster or something like that, but there does come a point where when do we archive as well? I think, like, you know, I want to be able to play video games from when I was a kid. I have spent a little bit of money on getting a Nintendo 64 with some old cartridges that I loved as kids, right? And, like,
I bet you spent a little bit of money on that.
Absolutely.
They're a bit expensive right now.
Oh, I bought them just before COVID. It was a very lucky time where they were still priced like medium, and now they're sort of going up again in terms of the collectible scene.
Yeah, walk into a Cashies and find where they have the NES games and just look at the prices they have on them.
Oh, really? I've got
like $300 for some titles.
Really?